How's it going?
Good.
Thanks for being here. How's everything? Everything's going well there?
Yeah, she's just a freaking trooper. She did
Awesome.
great. Yep, she did great. And it's an in and out surgery, so that's super cool.
Perfect.
November 14th.
Uh,
All righty. I haven't heard from Susan. If she comes, I guess. So,
All right.
Susan was just on a big backpacking canyoneering situation that she just got back to cell service. So I don't know if she was planning on coming or not, but I can ask.
yeah, if you don't mind. But I think we're good even if she doesn't make it, and so we can get started. Perfect. We'll call this meeting to order. It's October 8th, 2025. This is the meeting of the Carbondale, Colorado Parks and Rec Commission. We're an advisory commission made up of volunteers to assist and consult the town staff and make recommendations to our town elected officials. My name is Drew Sorensen. I have the privilege of serving as the vice chair and sitting in tonight for Chair Hollis Sutherland, who's out for one more week. I'm joined by fellow volunteers Ashley Hedgemanic, Rachel Bachman-Perkins, Susan Rea, Rose Rosello, Les Geary, Amalia Sparhawk, Nick Nardesha, and we're joined by Carbondale staff, Eric Brenninger, Parks and Rec Director, Robin Jacober, Rec Programs and Community Center Manager, and Allie Olivia Wetstein, Boards and Commission Clerk. We welcome anyone watching live or on recording. Thanks for participating in your local government. As a commission, we strive to serve the town of Carbondale by setting aside personal biases and looking for what is best for our community. We honor diverse opinions, promote inclusivity, and endeavor to keep our discourse civil and respectful. I feel like I'm on an island over here, but that's okay. From the board members, any changes to the minutes? Anything wanted to look at? We can do a motion if not.
I move we accept the meeting minutes. I'll second.
Perfect. All in favor? And Rose, you are a voting member, so if you need to do a little raised hand or whatever you need to, that would be awesome. Or just chime in whenever you can.
I'm a Teams girl, so this Zoom is throwing me for a loop to find the thing. But yep, right here, vote yay on
Perfect.
that one.
I was gonna say voice, raised hand, or chat. Either way, I think any of the three work. So whatever works for you.
I see the raised hand, not that I'll find it quickly, but okay, I'm in.
Sounds good. Thanks. Perfect. A lot of information stuff from you, Eric, I think tonight, starting with Aquatic Center update things.
Yeah, and we filled in kind of last time on our push, and so I just wanted to really not much has changed other than we know what that's going to cost us now, and so that's that 56 kind of $1,000 increase in fees for Wember and for the architectural services they were supposed to be really done in October, so they had to push that contract out to next May. So that was a hit to our owner's contingency, which has a good amount of money in it now. So it didn't put too much stress on the project. And so there is no fee coming from AD Miller. So that was nice that they were just extending their contract without any additional service fees. So
fantastic.
So what we might see from them and what we might see out of the construction contingency, and even the owner's contingency, I think depending on what happens is when they go to plaster the pools in the early spring, weather dependent, and so heat tent dependent, and so there might be some weather related expenses there that we're not foreseeing at this time, and that's all going to just be depending on when they can get in there and get plastering and what they're going to need to do to make sure that plaster has the correct temperature to adhere and function well for the long haul. It's amazing how much is happening over there right now though. They're really cranking. It's changing daily. they are, just this last week, they set a lot of the, landscaping boulders and starting to put the landscaping all together. They got all the flat work set, so they're pouring concrete on all the flat work. It's actually starting to look like a pool.
That's awesome. Yeah.
And so it's getting pretty exciting. The big boppers are big. I think they're aptly named. And so those are on the roof, and those are our air source heat pumps. They're on the roof and in place, and you know, so we're kind of getting some vision of the final look of the building too. Yeah, so capital campaign, you know, fundraising report, we did extend that deadline of that $2.5 million goal to December 31st. We got into the budget, saw what we had spent so far, found some money to do kind of a final campaign online and with social media, with Manifest Communications, and Ohm is another company that's working with us. So that'll be you'll start to see some of the fruits of those labor, and what they want to focus on now is really the energy efficient aspect of the building, and the unique aspect of an all electric outdoor pool in Carbondale. I mean, in Colorado, you know, or even in the United States.
Yeah.
So with no gas backup coming in, you know, to this building, it's pretty unique, and so they want to kind of focus on that aspect of it, and that's kind of going to be the pitch on where we need the additional funding. You know, help us. We could have built an all gas pool, right? We just thought that's not what we wanted to do. So we wanted to do this right and do it for the future, and build an all electric facility with the technology at hand, and that was more expensive. So that's going to be the kind of pitch there. We still have some granting asks out, and so you know, so we could be supplementing with some additional grant funding too. You know, and when we're in these final throes of the project, you know, some granting sources are just kind of seeing it. And
Yeah.
we actually got approached from the Colorado Energy Office that said, hey, look at this one.
Oh, nice.
So we're gonna take a look at some other granting sources that are specific to, you know, electrification of a public building that's outside of what they're already funding, you know?
Yeah.
So it's more of a private equity firms that fund this stuff. You know, and so yeah, so I hope, you know, the goal is to make that $2.5 million fundraising goal, because, you know, when you look at our funding and where we sit budget wise, you know, we had to dip into our reserves quite a bit to make the decision to build, you know, the adults to the facility. So we need to backfill that reserve, because that is our operating funds. We don't know what this is going to cost us. And I sound like a broken record on that, but I think it's really important for people to understand that we still don't know what this facility is going to cost us. So our fundraising is super important now, you know, to backfill our reserves there. So
Yeah, well, that's great that there's other grants. The timing of the final push, I assume that'll be like post-election, the last like month and a half of the year.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, kind of that end of year, you know, donation, tax deductible cycle.
Yeah, perfect.
Some great photos in the report, just kind of really showing you the progress of the pool. You know, in preparation of the concrete deck pour, landscape rock replacement. Really get a kind of a good look at the pool mechanical room and pumps, the air source heat pumps, the you know, chemical controllers. I like the two shots of the internal locker room view. The first shot there is of a halfway finished internal wall, and then you can see the external wall. That's where you see the pattern. And then the second shot is after it's been completed. So what that'll look like from the inside. Yeah, any questions on the pool project and kind of where we're sitting? It's yeah, they're definitely, you know, trying to get as much done as possible before the weather changes too much on them. And then hopefully, you know, where we'll end up is all that's, you know, really left in the springtime is some landscaping and some pool plastering and really the connection of all the solar. So
Cool.
that's the plan. Any questions on that?
That's
You know,
great.
I hope people are getting excited about it. I'm getting excited about it in the sense that you know, it's starting to really take shape. We're you know, looking at what it's, you know, we've already presented to you what our fee structure is going to be. We'll really start looking at other rental opportunity structures. We need to get that all set up this winter. We'll get contracts set up with other pool users too that we foresee. You know, kayak clubs and scuba clubs and swim clubs and the swim team. So we still have, you know, tons of work to do there in the sense of getting it ready to open. So
Yeah, no, super exciting. It has come along. I've been a little distracted with my own project, but I can empathize since we're also in final stages. And so I know how you're feeling about it too. So yeah.
yeah, a lot of details.
Yeah.
A lot of details. Okay, well, great. Yeah, if there's no questions, we can kind of move on. So you guys saw our kind of budget goals and capital improvement project review. I wanted to bring that back. They did hire you know, a finance director. His name's Ola, and he in 5 weeks with new software put together a budget packet that's going to the trustees on Thursday. I mean, Tuesday, next Tuesday. Yeah. So pretty huge lift and a big learning lift from us just to try to figure out this new software. So normally you guys would have seen a draft copy of our budget now. But it's, you know, it's not at this meeting, you know. I went back and looked at our agenda. Yeah, you would normally see, you know, here's our line item by line item budget. But that didn't happen this year. It's going to get a first look, you know, by trustees on Tuesday, and then we are going to present kind of our piece, Parks and Rec Department's piece, at a work session of the trustees on the 21st. So that would be our kind of just one-on-one, you know, talk with the trustees, and it'll be nice. It'll be at a work session, you know, so we can spend some time on some ideas and kind of show the trustees what we're thinking for next year, and even a little bit more of a 5-year look too into our capital projects and some 5-year goals that we'll have and be able to present that. So
Cool.
As far as you know, you guys have already seen this. I wanted to include it because just a couple changes have happened since you last saw it, so I didn't want you to be surprised by it. We did you know, some of the things that I was looking at project wise, we're getting done this year in this year's budget, so that's kind of nice. Those would be like the Thompson House Irrigation and Landscape Buffer Zone project. So we are a contract's going to the trustees next Tuesday. So we are going to be able to complete that project out of this year's budget. We still have some budgeted money there for next year to look at getting some better access to the building for ADA purposes. And so that budget's still going to be in 2026, but I just want to share, we did find a contractor. You know, we put that RFP out, didn't get any responses. So we had to do some internal digging and start just really cold calling people and talking to people and talking to references of you know, local irrigation companies and landscape companies. And we were able to find somebody to do the work who's yeah, comes highly recommended. So we were happy about that. It wasn't a bottom of the barrel deal, you know. So we're also getting some of the concrete work done around our ADA drinking fountains, our frost-free ADA drinking fountains that we are slowly replacing in our parks and making sure we're replacing these old fountains with these ADA accessible ones, but then we also have to put a concrete pad, you know, underneath them to make them fully accessible. So we are doing Miners Park next month too. So So that's another contract that's getting looked at. And so those things are being kind of pulled from, next year's budget, but we still have two additional ADA drinking fountains to do that too. So that's still in next year's budget, but we were able to pull one of those and get it done this year. I'm looking through here, and if there's any questions, if you see anything that sparks a question, just let me know.
I have a
Then
comment.
the one thing that we're gonna talk
Yeah.
about,
Eric, I think
was
Ashley
just
has
say-
a comment.
Okay, he
Yeah.
can ask at the end.
Make our way through.
what was that? What were you?
Ashley's got one comment for you
Yeah.
if you want, yeah.
I did the GoCo Impact Grant review last week.
Yeah,
Oh, right.
And it was really insightful. There's not much I can reveal, and I don't even know who's, if they're going forward with our committee's recommendations or not, but it did seem like need, urgency, and probably the population being served are really big factors in those grants on being successful. And I guess just, I don't know how much you were thinking of going after for the Chacos Park. But I think a smaller ask would be more successful than like a $500,000 ask.
okay,
Based on what I looked at, and
okay, no, that's good feedback, yeah.
assume they'll have about 6 million to award in the next cycle, which if everyone's asking for $1 million plus, doesn't go very far.
Yep. Right now, we have we have 200,000 in this year's budget to get it to design document and construction document level. So we'll be pretty shovel ready, hopefully, when that is completed. And then, with the shovel ready project like that, and we have $1 million in the budget next year for implementation. And so if we could, so I'm thinking of, an ask could be less, to supplement that budget, so even though we know the project's has a $2 million price tag to it, we also have some money in the next year's budget because it's going to be a phased project. And it's going to have to be because of our use of that space on a year-round basis. Almost, it's going to be interesting how we phase this project, but.
I agree, and I think that should be a strategy for your grant asks is making it bite-sizable and.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
thanks. That's great feedback, yeah. Do you guys, did you look at just Western Slope stuff or did you look at everything?
Everything.
Okay,
Yeah, and so they had a total amount, and it's not perfect that it's half that now and half
yeah,
in the spring. But
yeah,
it's just, a lot of the communities really come off as more in need.
Yeah.
Or the project's more deferred and long overdue kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it's more like appealing to, can I get what's left over?
Yeah. No, that's good. And we'll see if it's worth our efforts, when
Yeah.
we take a deeper dive into that, yeah.
Yeah.
And maybe look at some other granting sources for that. We can reapply to Land and Water Conservation Fund also. Since we weren't awarded it, we can reapply. So that might be a way to go there too. Okay, thanks for that feedback. Yeah. So where that kind of takes us, we still are, there's a lot of money that we're really looking at for maintenance, and deferred maintenance of some of our facilities. And they're also, as far as the bike park and as far as the skate park, these are large expenditures, but need to be almost annual expenditures. And so we're getting into that zone of some of the ages of our facilities where, we need to just plan accordingly and put money in the budget on an annual basis to take care of, and keep them functional. same with the rec center, there's a $90,000 need there on our HVAC system.
Mhm.
And it's 18 years old and it's been running 80+ hours a week. And so, yeah, there's a reason why for sure, but so those are going to be, some of our bigger asks in the budget. The one that I am personally champion is the Miners Park volleyball court improvements one, because we put some improvements there this year with a minimal amount of money. We saw the programming potential and possibilities there. We saw the tournament possibilities there in that park with this youth group that did a tournament there this year. And we've seen a lot of interest once we started putting improvements to that facility. And, so it's, you put the carrot out there, then they will come. And so our plan is to really switch out that sand for a really engineered and designed, volleyball sand, not a aggregate from the rock quarry, right? So, which is not fun to play on, So that's hopefully that stays in the budget, and hopefully that we can make that happen, very early next spring. So out of that budget.
One question on that, Eric, does that 30,000 that's listed in there, is that just for sand, or is that, nets or, any sort of padding on those poles, or, drainage underneath it, or changes to the irrigation system to keep sprinklers off it? Is that included, or that's the sand price?
That is all sand.
Yeah, I figured it's
Yeah.
expensive, so yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty insane, but yeah, that is all sand. And we did spend some money there that, out of the parks budget and park maintenance budget this year, and did put in pads, buy new nets. We we do have they haven't been mounted, but we purchased them out of this year's budget. Yeah, the adjustable nets. So we just need to get those mounted and find somebody that knows how to mount them. They look fairly complicated to mount correctly. So we'll probably get that done this fall, hopefully. So we'll be ready to roll.
Cool.
But that was purchased out of this year's budget. So yeah, so I think it's it's going to see a lot more use when we get it to that level.
Yeah, I think so. Given the level of volleyball that's being played around, and I think it'll be well used.
Yeah.
There's many people that have reached out to me through rec volleyball here and playing at those courts, saying like, we would host tournaments, we would host clinics, we would host things. And so, yeah, I think if that, even just having nice sand courts, like I've played in Motherlode for the last number of years, and like even just having those nice courts for the finals, everyone else is playing on grass up until that point. Like, I mean, even that draw of having those two nice courts for that sort of thing is huge. And so, yeah, I love to see it in here, and yeah, as much as we can do for that would be awesome. So.
Okay, great. So one change that it kind of happened there, and it's taken us kind of a deep dive into the budget, was looking at, and much to Erica's chagrin potentially, but we were going to have to push that bathroom replacement again. No. How many times have I pushed that? You can.
No.
Let's explore container bathrooms again.
Yeah.
I'll come to your office. We'll come look at
Yeah,
it.
we'll do a deep dive into
Yeah.
that and get it done in 2027. Yeah, with that, our rec sales and use tax reserves are underneath, literally our kind of mandated percentages. So that's the one that was a big enough chunk to where if we pushed it, we're looking better. So, and without knowing the cost of operating the Aquatics Center, we think it's prudent. So we're trying to push it in there, but yeah, so that'd be the one change that
Maybe the
kinda
trustees
happened.
will consider some general fund.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it could happen. Okay, And then the other thing I wanted to talk about, what also we looked at kind of pushing but not too far, was kind of our process for our 10-year master plan and for the Parks and Rec department. And so looking at, you know, a funding for that, an outside consultant funding in 2027, but work, you know, in 2026. So by, you know, December of 2026, we have polished RFP, you know, out to all these consultants at that correct time. And Ashley, let me know if this you agree with this plan, but have that, you know, really hitting them at that mid, you know, in the winter, beginning of the year, so they can map out their next year's work as far as a consultant. Is that a good time to be looking at RFPs in that January of the next year?
Everyone always, well, there's a bit of a slowdown in December and then they all come out right at the beginning of the year and it doesn't really impact a planning workflow, at least for us, it doesn't. We don't anticipate to get awarded a project and then wait for it to start. So it's, if you're going after it, you're anticipating it's going to start pretty soon. And if you don't have the capacity, you don't go after it.
Okay.
So I think it's more about when you want to start drawing the funds to pay for the work.
Yeah. Yeah, because I mean, that's another budget decision is, you know, we don't really have the bandwidth and capacity, you know, to probably do this in 2026 with new facility operations and you know, just wrapping that project up. So I just know what the last master plan, the amount of time it took to do it right, you know, and all the meetings and all the public outreach and, you know, yeah,
It's 9 to 12 months.
yeah,
Yeah.
comprehensive. So,
Yeah.
so that's why we're looking at 2027 to fund and do the work. So I just wanted to put that out here and just see what people thought and that gives us 2026 to really, you know, put together a nice RFP packet, really, you know, that process we started, you know, what do we need out of a 10-year master plan? What are we gonna tell the consultants we need them to tell us? So, so that's kind of my philosophical strategy on that one. I just want some feedback from the commissioners and seeing what they're thinking. And the second piece of that is, you know, who wants to be involved in that kind of additional work in 2026 to get that ready to go out.
I mean, very personally, yeah, like 2026 is way better than right now. And so, you know, even to just like start working on that. So yeah, I would be supportive of kind of pushing that timeline a little bit. And also considering just like, you know, where we are with getting maybe one or two more commission members that also have experience in this or, you know, are at least interested in it. Yeah, I think that's a good timeline at least.
Okay.
And I think the actual request period is 2 months is not out of the ordinary for requesting it, then getting them, evaluating them, interviews,
Yeah.
and then officially launching the work. So you could be looking at doing it next year at this time.
Yes. So like, yeah, exactly. Like that 2 to 3 month process almost.
Yeah, a consultant knows they're not going to kick off during winter holidays.
Right.
But
Okay. Okay, good. I just wanted to vet that out with you a little bit. Yeah, so it makes some sense. Okay. Let's see where we are here.
Cool. Yeah, that covers master plan stuff. Gateway RV Park.
Yeah,
On that season
we-
report.
yeah, let's do a little talk about that. So, you know, we did experience some sewer, you know, kind of leach field, sewer pump, leaking pipes problems this this season, and so didn't really affect, like, we didn't have a lot of cancellations because of it, but we had a lot of concern on our end and concern from the campground hosts, you know, who live there. And so we're gonna you know, be working on that this right now. It's closed right now, so we've already had some assessments out there of what probably needs to happen this fall, as far as some dig up and replacements and lowering of some of the piping. They think, you know, yeah, they're gonna make a mess out there this fall. So, but it's needed to kind of figure out what was happening and why it was happening. We did get our leach field assessed. They think our leach field is functional. That was our concern, that the leach field was not functioning. And so all that effluent, you know, was not able to go anywhere. Looks like that's not the case. It's more of a piping issue and potentially damaged pipes and maybe just, you know, so we're gonna dig them up and see what's there and do some camera work. Access the pipes, do some camera work, make sure it's functioning the way it needs to, and probably lower it, you know, and do some pretty major improvements out there. So some expenditures, you know, coming out of this year's budget that were kind of earmarked for a shade structure out there going to that. So I did put some money into next year's budget because we don't know what we're going to find yet. So we do have some money kind of earmarked for some more repairs out there. And then if it's not used for that, we're gonna also do some improvements to the bathroom. Some tiling there and just make it a little bit nicer out there to that bathroom. So Eric, you can go to that.
Yeah.
On that topic, has the town ever considered operating a dump station
Yes.
for money?
I mean, money, you could make some money, but you'd have to have a lot more capacity than we have out there.
Well, at that site, but could there be another site ever?
Well, you know, where.
We're not the first to ask.
No.
I've had somebody meet with me for coffee twice of talking about dump stations.
And they would need to be down at the sewer plant. And there's no good
No
RV
turning.
access. Yeah, that's the issue, because that's where it would need to be for it to be actual, you know, functional for the public. Yeah. And yeah, so I don't know what to tell you about that one. Yeah, there's not a lot of spots to go. It's gotta go to Fruta.
Well, right, full, but yeah, when you're camping in the valley and you have to leave the valley
Yeah,
and come back.
yeah, it's kind of crazy, isn't it?
They used to have one in Glenwood. I don't know what happened.
At Amy's Acres up there.
No,
Okay.
at the gas, you used to be able to do it at the gas station at the Walmart turnoff.
Oh.
There was one there.
Used to be able to do it in Mid Valley too, you know, at the Aspen campground there. So, yeah.
Back in the day.
Yeah, I don't know what to tell you about that one.
Seems like there could be money in it.
Oh, I know.
If someone could make
mean,
it work.
You know, our policy at the RV park is like, sorry, it's only for guests that stay here. People will buy an empty site and dump
Oh,
and leave.
wow.
There's availability too.
So they're, you know, it's not cheap, but but they're getting rid of the crap, so. So yeah, RV park, let's just take a look at that end of season report. So May 1st, October 1st, sold out nights, we had 40 sold out nights compared to 56 last year. Don't think that had anything to do with our sewer issues. It was just cycling down. Don't know why. Weather, who knows? Smoke, you know, hard to kind of figure out what was happening there. So revenue's down by 4%. Stays are down by 3%. But one of the you know, but not too substantial. You know, stays were 2,242 compared to 2,304 from the previous year. So nothing to kind of be worried about. It might just be natural. But what was interesting to me was, Bill Kirkland, who's one of our hosts, ran these numbers. He keeps his eye on Web Reserve, which is our software, and he loves to just, run tons of reports and numbers. So he's great to have out there. He's been out there for 14 years. Yeah. And so both of our hosts have been out there for 14 years. Our first question with them at our end of the season, meeting is, are you coming back? Yes, for sure. We always have people calling us saying, hey, I want to be your campground host. But we want them to come back. They know this place. So, a couple of their, ideas there was, look at the product, the season 2025 tent camping group sites, really it had like 7 nights booked. So they were, starting to say, wow, should we even offer that there? And it's, you can't sign up for that online. And maybe that's part of the issue. You have to sign up through the campground host, and that's a control mechanism on that is important to have, I think. Because there's a certain number of cars you can have, a certain number of people. And if you could sign up online, that wouldn't be followed probably until it's too late and you have 50 cars down there and a huge party, right? So, they do like the control mechanism of talking to the people before they book it. And that's kind of what we make them do for that site. But not a lot of use, but some historic use, people that have used it over and over the course of the year. So we don't want to take it away, I don't necessarily think, and repurpose it. I think it still has some value to it, but I wanted to get your guys' feedback too. So
Is it clear on the website that it's available, but you just have to speak to those?
yeah, you have to call it just said you have to call the campground host,
Oh.
to reserve it. Yeah. And so, talking to him about, our 70% of, so we're really full, 70% of the time there. So, and those are all the RV sites. That's the numbers of the RV sites. That overflow site is when, there's one day or something when somebody has a reservation for 3 days, or, but they arrive a day before or whatever. And so somebody's in that site and it's full. So there is an overflow site that we use for that purpose. And it seems to be working pretty well. It got booked out for 16 nights. So, and then those people roll into their regular site. But so one of our questions for, the campground host was like, we allow a 2-week stay, then they have to leave, and then they can rebook after a week. And so look, we said, let's run our average number of days that people are staying. And I was really pretty surprised at these numbers that came from that effort. The average number of days from all the way back to 2013 till now is literally 2.5. And so with these weekly, kind of offerings and rentals and pricing structures, I thought we'd be up in the 6, 7, right? And Bill kind of explained that, during COVID, it was very different. There was this boom in the RV park industry, and that's kind of laid off now. It's kind of slowed down. And so this is, it was interesting. It didn't show a COVID, kind of bump here. So I was kind of interested in that. But that's so, people have a house on wheels is the way I look at it. So they can move and travel. And so, but I thought that this would be higher, the average stay. But as far as it, an RV park being an economic generator for the town of Carbondale, I mean, those people are, staying here, almost 3 days on average, buying their groceries, eating, going out to dinner, so, yeah, so it's a lot more revenue to the town than that's shown here. So it is kind of neat to think of it as that town asset that feeds the town too, so. So we hope to, really fix this sewer issue. And then we really talked to the campground hosts about what is, your kind of 5-year wish list out here, right? They've been out there long enough. They've been operating the park long enough to where we wanted to hear have value in what they see as what should be the next capital improvement out there. And so for them, it's, some way to mitigate the highway noise. So whether that's, landscaping, which would need irrigation. So, it's some way to do that out there, because that is well, we're having our meeting out there, and here comes a big truck, throws on its Jake brakes, and we couldn't even talk for a while until that guy went past us. So, so that was a big one for him. We asked about, I asked personally about like a shade shelter, like a picnic shade shelter, because there's not a lot of shade out there, So, and I think that's still desired, but not as high as I thought it would have been from them, which was interesting. But to get irrigation over there, our master plan that we did there, had 3 different techniques to do that. Get water rights out of the ditch, which is going to be impossible. To test the capacity of the well and see if it could irrigate the property. It's doesn't have the gallons per minute that would probably allow us to do that. Bring water over. Third was to bring water over from the water treatment plant. And so whether you bore that underneath the river or you bring it across the bridge. So very expensive project, but doable. So that's kind of where we landed on 5-year to 10-year kind of capital improvements.
Flattening it. They want to regrade.
Yeah.
That was another big
Yeah,
one.
and another big one would be to strip it, regrade it, because it hasn't been done long time, and do it right. Put down road base, level it, get your drainage right. And so that would be a big expenditure, a big project too. We've been supplementing it, with road base and gravel to level it, but you can only do that for so long, and then the gravel gets too thick, and then these big heavy vehicles don't have a solid base.
Gravel,
So,
yeah.
yeah. So yeah, that was another big one. So that's kind of the we'll be looking at the future of those improvements there, in the budget cycles. So and in the Parks and Rec master plan too. So I mean, that'll be a part of that too. So.
Looking at the website, in the booking side of things, I wonder if you could add at least like a picture and an option for the tent, even if you have to make even if it says call to reserve instead of book now. Because I don't know that it's that apparent that there is a tent site without looking. If you look at the map, you see it. But I wonder if if you're looking for registration options, if making it a little bit more clear that there is a tent site available
There's the spot. Okay.
could be helpful.
Yeah, that's good feedback. Thanks. Yeah, maybe like some photos, right? Yeah.
Because each of the other sites have the photo with it. And
Yeah, and I mean, I really think that location, for a permanent picnic kind of shade shelter, I think it'll get used a lot, and it'll enhance that property big time. So that's still on my list as an improvement out there that's needed. So. Okay, thank you.
Cool. Rose, just a quick check-in. Do you have any questions on anything that Eric is telling us about, filling us in on, anything like that?
Nope. I think that a lot of people camp with their own shade structures for sure too, which might have something to do with why they weren't looking for shade structures. But nope, looks good. Thank you.
Perfect. Thanks, Rose. Yeah, it's true. People being prepared as they go places, so.
Yeah, it's true. And all these big rigs have these awnings that are, push the buttons. Yeah. so.
Yeah. Cool. Perfect. If you want to jump into 30, 60, 90, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, so, couple of things I just wanted to share on that is, the Red Hill and kind of what we're doing up there. We're, we still have that maintenance endowment from the Aspen Valley Land Trust, Save Red Hill campaign. And so and it's fairly healthy too. And so we really want to and have been figuring out how to use that to the best maintenance of that facility. And our RFOV has adopt a trail program. And so I can't remember if I've told the commission.
I think so. I think we've talked about that before. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, how we want to use that endowment to help them support this Adopt a Trail program.
Yeah.
And because it was a 3-year grant that they had for that to get it established. And so that grant is actually disappearing. So at the end of its 3-year cycle. So they needed to backfill it if we want to keep the program going. And so I talked to Aspen Valley Land Trust about it. And they said, yeah, that's a very appropriate use of that endowment maintenance fund. So I just wanted to share that with you guys. We're gonna test that program. So I put some more money in the budget for that. That will be reimbursed by the endowment. So that's
Cool.
why you're gonna see a little bit more money in our trails maintenance. And working with Red Hill Council too, and working with the BLM up there. We're supporting the work not on our land there, which, because it's all connected.
Right.
And so Chris Gleason, is our facility maintenance lead, is working with Red Hill Council and BLM and helping them. He's gained a lot of knowledge about how to take care of trails up there.
Yeah.
Just from spending all the hours there. And so he's working with them on some projects they have coming up, some signage projects, and helping them
Cool.
get some more wayfinding, more trying to keep the trail braiding from happening. And so they're gonna be putting up some more signs, and as you know, we have been testing some ways to work with that. We put up some cairns and some wire mesh containers. They all disappeared by the public's hands. So somebody didn't like them. And then we had that strange, where we delineated the past, really did a big restoration effort of where a lot of the braided trails were. And then all that wood that we were using was stuck in these huge piles by somebody. So there's some weird stuff that's happened up there. And so how do you combat that stuff? You program it more, and you spend more time up there, and you spend more information out to the public of how it should be treated and used. And so that's the effort of the Red Hill Council. That's BLM that supports it, and then we're going to help support that. So even when it's not on our section of trail, it's all connected.
Yeah.
And as far as, I think I've already kind of covered a couple of our projects that we're getting done, this year. Weed management. I do want to talk a little bit about that. So we do, RAPTA was utilizing a different subcontractor this year for the goats. And so we had some great conversations with them. They did that meet and bleat event out at the rodeo grounds. They're called Goats on the Go. And, I thought RAFTA had kind of looked at them as just a cheaper option than the subcontractor they were using before. It's about the same price,
Oh,
about $2,000 an acre. Yeah.
Gotcha.
So it wasn't really a cost savings. It was, I think, I'm not sure why, so it'll be interesting to talk to Brett and just see kind of why they went with a different subcontractor. But went and met this guy, went and showed him our properties. He's willing to do a little tester. He's here for another couple weeks, so hopefully in the next 2 weeks, we're going to test the goats out at the Bill Hanks ball field in the outfield berm. We've got some serious weed issues there, and it's not used other than just as a berm,
Mhm.
and so it's not really a trafficked area. And so we're gonna test them out there this year and hopefully get contracted up with them for next year.
Cool.
And see how it goes there. The thing is, it's not a one and done with the goats, right? You actually bring them in, they do their work, you go reassess the piece of property afterwards, reseed it, figure out what they actually did, where they were successful, where they weren't, and you have to then spend your time really making their work worthwhile. So yeah, and so talking to this new guy, he definitely is good at letting you know this is a first step, in a long step process, and we get it, what did he say? It's not a marathon. The goats are the first lap of the marathon, So, yeah, and so, but I'm excited about that. I think that it'll really be another tool in our integrated weed management plan, and seeing what happens out there, and just kind of having that be our spot. We use them for a couple of years. I think will be really let us know where else their potential is in our parkland. So
Yeah.
so I'm excited to get that started and to utilize them next year on that same piece of property, I think, and maybe we'll expand it if it's successful. So
Cool. Yeah, anything else on there?
Yeah, that's about it. And then yeah, the rest of you guys know pool and chocolates.
Yep.
Are there other volunteer groups that support the towns? Like, are there groups that do volunteer days, or there's like the Rams Day?
Uh-huh.
Are there any other?
Yeah, Rotary's helped us out a couple times, as a group. Work day.
Cool.
RFOV has these offshoot programs with the schools, so we utilize that. We've utilized the summer advantage kids.
Okay.
Through RFOV.
Yeah.
We were just talking about partnering with Ascendigo.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah,
and
yeah.
There was another.
And RFOV, wasn't it?
Oh, maybe it was.
Oh, no.
No,
No, it wasn't.
it was somebody else.
Stepping stones.
Oh,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. Yeah, so and that's that manual extraction.
Yeah.
In certain times of the year that those groups, could be very valuable.
Yeah.
To just do that work. So
Cool.
Yeah.
I can try to rally my neighbors to do Hippo Park.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
The thistle, they grow up through the wood chips. And at some point,
Oh, yeah.
it seems like town staff or somebody came in and took a lot of them out, and they come right back through, which is the pokey.
They are
Yeah.
pokey.
A lot of
Pokier-
owies.
I was gonna say, yeah, pokiers and the wood chips themselves. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. Awesome. Thanks, Eric. Robin, any rec center updates?
Yeah, we're starting our fall programming. Things are going well. Basketball's super popular. The kids signing up. We've had really cute climbers come in for Tuesdays and Thursdays. It's super fun. I would like to shout out Eric and the rest of the team for an amazing potato days. That was,
Absolutely.
and if you didn't make it, it It was great. I haven't been in years and it was fun.
Yeah.
So,
It's a big
And it's a
event
big
now.
one.
Yeah, yeah.
so.
Yeah.
mhm.
We're gonna get Placer, you know, AI data to kind of figure out how many people were, you know, in the park and then in the kind of parade route itself that day at different times. So we'll be able to get some good numbers from that software. So
I'd be fascinated about the parade route in certain areas. That
Yeah.
was impressive.
But you won't be able to track the kids.
yeah.
So you're gonna have to multiply it by at least 2 or.
I had no idea where mine were, but I have seen other people's kids.
You can always confine them to the trailer and on our float, and then you know exactly where they are, so.
I was surprised how many people there were. I feel like it was a lot more than other years.
Yeah,
Okay, good. That's what we felt too. Yeah.
Did it storm? We booked it. Yeah, it did hit.
Well, luckily it happened like at 1:45, 2:00. So almost everybody had their food. Like 99% of the people had their food, and we were just about running out of food. Then it hit big time. So yeah.
One of the things we did this year that was new was the contra dance in the park at the end of Potato Days, and I thought that was great.
Yeah.
There was
That's
great
fun.
involvement and yeah, it was cool.
Yeah, it was nice.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we had a caller and the band was playing, you know, the honk tunes and yeah, and people were, and what the caller said, I thought the caller was good. He's like, this is 116-year-old festival and the dances we were dancing were the dances they were doing 116 years ago. That was
Yeah.
pretty cool.
Huh.
Yeah,
really cool.
so, yeah, and I mean, you know, we're gonna do a debrief of Potato Day. You know, it was a new model, you know, a kind of community support model, and I think it worked. You know, we'll get a report later to you guys on that, and just to let you know how fiscally it worked and what was given to Seed Peace as the beneficiary of the event, and just how that's going to be sustainable in the future. So we'll come back with a report on that after our debrief. So.
Cool. That'd be great.
Yeah.
Commission members, anything?
Got one.
That one, go for it.
Did you guys see on the social media over the pickleball tennis conflicts? Yes.
No,
Okay, so it seems like there might be some conflict between what's on the website and what's posted, and I thought the pickleball guy answered it, but I don't know if he answered it adequately. I think the website page for that could be given a good proofread. Margaret's still on there. Darian's spelled wrong. Just maybe a once over on that page.
Thank you.
Slowly but surely, we're getting them updated.
cool. Erica,
Sure.
updates?
Well, we haven't had a meeting in like 3 weeks, so am I am I on the council? I don't know. No, but we had a couple really interesting discussions just for community members to just kind of spreading the word. We're partnering with the fire district on some new modeling that's available for predicting where a fire would go when it happens. And that was kind of their message is like, and they had this really interesting map. You should, if you can't sleep at night and decide there's other things you don't want to be able to sleep about, you should look at our packet because it's like the likelihood of a fire in the Roaring Fork Valley, and Carbondale is literally a red bullseye. So they're treating it as like, this is going to happen. So what can we do to prevent it? So we decided to put some money from our budget to partner with them on this different modeling. Past modeling has been based on just replicating what a fire does in a forest in a town, but it's actually the urban interface is really different on how fires act with different houses. So they're actually going to be mapping each individual home and kind of what are the triggers and where do we need to kind of set up barriers, or not set up barriers, but even do some back burning sooner than later. And I'm kind of pointing that way because it is that way that they're worried about, kind of on the other side of RVR and the other side of the Crystal River. But, so it's just really, but it's really cool. They're doing it in Marble right now, literally going door to door and mapping each house. And then they'll have like the model generates like 5,000 different scenarios of where a fire could start and where the evacuation centers could be and stuff like that. So it's really, super helpful, detailed knowledge. The fire district is really excited about it. So we're putting in money to pay for that same modeling to be done in Carbondale. And that'll be kind of a 2026 project because it will involve, folks they actually might need to train kind of a volunteer corps who then will go to each home and kind of have this 12 checklist or whatever, like how many propane tanks do you have outside your house or whatever the questions are. So that was really interesting. And then we also talked about our priorities as a council. Partly, we usually do a bigger conversation in August, but with staff having a new town manager and a new finance director, we are putting that discussion off and kind of just looking at our priorities that we've identified in the past. And, but one of the kind of new ones that I just wanted to mention is empowering, our town manager to add some more staff if needed. Cause he's finding, you come into a new place and just finding like, we don't have an HR person. So that's up to like Eric and Robin to do all the HR work. And so just some things like that that are not really glossy, but would help all support the rest of the team. And so we emphasize that in our discussion. And then something I just wanted to raise is we had a kind of just a pretty good discussion about, and we're going to have follow-up discussions about economic development and with the chamber and with Carbondale Arts. And during the discussion, I have it written really big, is talk to Parks and Rec about, I just feel like our park infrastructure, actually this whole commission, I think should be at the table in these economic discussions because all of the events that staff support and put on, it's not just Carbondale Arts that's putting on events, like we're the other big event planning group. And then if you think about, our dream of Chacos Park and what that will do for downtown, in addition to what it does for our community. So I think as we start having those discussions, it'd be great to make sure we have some commission members looped in so that you guys are part of those. Cause it's really, you guys are another component of what our community members love about our community, but what tourists also love about our community, whether they're coming to the RV park or enjoying the nature park or bringing their, kid to a soccer game at one of our fields. And they would really like functioning bathrooms. So bathrooms are now economic development. But I just wanted to raise that because it was a really thorough discussion with those two entities. But I wanted to make sure that you guys are, I can't remember what we're doing for follow-up discussions, but I think it'd be worth making sure that there's a representative from Parks and Rec in that discussion. Because you guys are really, everything you guys do is super important to getting, I guess, and I want to frame it as like, it's an economic development discussion, is not as like, kind of an old school path is like, can we bring some big industry here that brings jobs? But it's more like our restaurants are asking if they need more people at the tables so that we all can enjoy the restaurants that we love. And so that they can keep paying the staff a livable wage and, that kind of thing. So it's more supporting what we already have in town, not that we're putting money towards recruiting some manufacturer to move here or something like that, or retailer. So that was there'll be some, I think they have it slated to do some follow-up discussions. And then
Would those happen?
Yep, that I don't have that in my notes, so I'll follow up and let the group know what's happening next on those.
Yeah.
And then I just wanted to mention that we did endorse the childcare tax. I believe it's 7A. I also didn't write that down. Yeah.
Thank
Figured you would know.
Appreciate it.
Yes.
Yes.
So that's on the ballot this November, and there's a really good information in our packet as well. They've got a great website that just shows the full district. And so since we did officially endorse it as a council, I'm spreading the word that we've endorsed it. We've also seen childcare and the importance of it as a priority since I've been on council. And I make the pitch and have argued with folks on how that's also an economic development kind of component of our community. So not that everything has to be framed as economic development, but it helps get some folks on board.
Yep.
So I just wanted to let you guys know that we've endorsed that and encourage everybody to vote for it. I think that's it.
Do you want to share with the commission just kind of what the decision process of the trustees on the Chacos Park kind of?
Oh, yeah, good idea.
Yeah. And I can do it too.
No, I can do it. I didn't have that in my notes. So we looked at the, remember how the last discussion you guys had was about whether to change the parking, change the barrier, for the fountain. So kind of get rid of those 2 parallel spots that were in front of the fountain and then potentially add 2 or 4, parking spots on the other side. We decided to get rid of all the parking.
Okay.
So. I told them that I had kind of given you guys a heads up. Once we all got on, Google Maps and kind of looked at the street view. And once we realized it was going to take out 2 existing trees, which may need to be replaced, and just how much it would push into that other side of the plaza, it just didn't feel like it made sense to, if we wanted to make it, an event space that we close off from cars most of the time, that we were starting to feel like it was getting very car centric suddenly in the middle of this event area. What we want to do is, there's a lot of like unmarked parking, like right across from the launch pad, not the parking lot, because that's private and that might be a building someday. But even the street parking right there, you just kind of go wherever you want. And so we could put some resources into kind of delineating parking across from the launch pad and maybe adding a couple more accessible spots there, or just, we decided to take, because we can do that, we can get a bigger picture of like, okay, what can we do with public works and find a few more sites instead of trying to squeeze some accessible spots into this really cool park project.
I think that's great.
So we, just got rid of all of it. We felt really good about it too. It was a good discussion.
Yeah. I was gonna say, I think that is, this time of year, driving by that plaza with those trees in that plaza is also maybe one of my favorite places in town, where it's like absolutely golden yellow,
Yeah.
it's sunshine. And so the idea of pushing that into parking instead is probably the wrong way. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Glare from the cars.
yeah.
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 Exactly.
And I do like the idea of like putting, something that I think Parks and Rec, we're Parks and Rec. Bike and Pet has thought about a bunch too, of just like looking at all the other places in town where things aren't quite finished.
Mhm.
On 7th Street from our project for the school, like we certainly looked at that a ton of just like, how is this actually supposed to be,
Mhm.
And so delineation and putting some effort into that, like starting at core and moving outwards, I think is great.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, there's a lot of private property that encroaches on what could be parking, and people are gonna be really upset if we went through and did it, but you could, like, you can see it when you go around the downtown core, especially around Sopers Park, where there's parking on in front of some people's houses, and then some people have their yard with little rocks that you can't park in. Just know that like where the cars are parked are actually, that's town property. And so it could be, just a strategy in the future where if we feel like we do need more parking downtown, we could kind of reclaim space, but that would not be very popular. But it's not off the table, so.
No.
That discussion brings forward, like, I think to look for grants, looking for like downtown development grants and economic grants for that park is
Yeah.
more appealing
Yeah.
in some ways than some of the other traditional ones we go after, since it's such a downtown.
I was thinking about that when you were talking about
Asset.
grants too, not that I know whether there's any available, but
And
it's-
none are coming offhand to me, but I'm sure
Yeah.
there are, and I'm sure this fits in better.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, no, that's good. That's good. I like that.
Eric, is there anything else that we discussed?
No, thank you for, that was well said.
Okay.
Yeah, but, and it was really neat. That's the public process, right? I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's where it goes here and here and here and then finally comes around and maybe lands here. You
Yeah.
know, and so, yeah, it's neat that when it lands there, everybody's pretty satisfied. So,
Mhm.
you know,
No, it felt like we got to the rate
yeah.
choice. And we were even at first debating it, and then it was like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
It was very freeing to suddenly be like, no parking.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
And that has been the focus there, you know, from the get-go, you know, and from the feedback from the public, let's make this, you know, pedestrian centric, not vehicle centric. And so, and I think we're getting there. So
Cool.
I forgot to mention just some special events that have just recently come across my desk. So I just want to share it and get it in a minute. So Thrill the World. So that's the thriller dance that happens all over the world on Saturday, October 25th from 3:45 to 4:15. It's a very short little special event. And that's in Chacos Park and 4th Street Plaza. Ascendigo Autism Services is doing a trunk or treat right out here in the back parking lot. We just got that penned up today, and that's going to be Thursday, October 30th, right out here from 4 to 6. And then KDNK and the new Crystal Theater and Thunder River Theater are all collaborating on a Halloween party for Friday, October 31st. Sweet Jessup is going to play at Thunder River. They're going to show Rocky Horror Picture Show at the theater.
Yep.
And then have a DJ set at the Thunder River afterwards. So they're putting together a ticket package where you can do it all. So it's kind of cool.
Very cool.
New event and you know, brainchild of Chris, you know, one of our trustees. So yeah, so it'll be fun to support that. And then of course Dia de los Muertos. So that's our next First Friday event, November 7th this year, and they're putting out. We just had a First Friday meeting today, and yeah, it's going to be another big event.
Another
So,
big one.
yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
It's going to come fast and furious. So yeah.
Amazing. Well, yeah, another huge shout out for Potato Days, and let us know if you need volunteer stuff for November. But yeah, Potato Days was fantastic. So
Okay. Awesome.
yeah. Any final things? Motion to adjourn?
Make a motion to adjourn.
I second.
Yeah, Rose. Thanks so much for being on, Rose. All those in favor?
Aye.
There we go. All right. Thanks so much. Rose, good luck. Thanks for being here. We'll see you soon.
Yeah, thanks. I also had an excellent time at Potato Days. Wasn't sure when to pop in, but my daughter, her favorite thing in the world is potatoes. So always a fun time.
Love
Thanks,
it.
everybody. We'll see you around.
Yeah.